on it.
Hello! Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tease My Pick. This is the divisional round that we'll be going through. Alex is here with that ridiculous cheetah bandana.
You like that?
It's very tilt. You look... No, I didn't think it was possible to look more of a douche, but you done it. Congratulations.
I've achieved my goal.
And
I think you look
Frost,
Thanks, man.
you have glasses on? See?
Yeah. Bev punched me in my eye sockets.
Mhm.
Shaved your hair off.
So yeah, so now it's like hard to see a little bit.
You're
So I had to
lying.
get glasses.
You're hack.
Also, my hair, she got mad at me, so she like shaved part of it, so then I had to like shave the rest of it.
So it's not genetics.
I mean, like Hack can't control, like he has no say in his hair, right?
Yeah.
So like I did, because I was a dick to my wife, Beverly.
Yeah.
And so she retaliated by cutting my hair. So
unlike Hack,
so I could have helped.
Yours isn't genetics.
Sure.
Because that would suck.
Yeah, but like Hack,
that would actually suck if it was genetics, though.
Like your height or what?
Okay, dude, what are we doing, bro? You can fix your shit.
Oh my!
You're Rogaine, man. God.
Wow.
Just asking.
Dang.
We move on. Hey guys, look. Like the video. Subscribe to it. I don't care if you don't like it. Just like it. And just subscribe to it because the algorithm and stuff.
Even if they dislike it, we won't see it anymore. So they can do that too.
You get. Hey guys.
Just click.
I want this to be. I want you to hate this video.
Hit the dislike button right here.
Send us hate mail.
If you're
hate comments. Look at me. Okay, so like I said, started it off. But no, seriously, like, subscribe, share to your grandparents, and we are just gonna get this thing popped off and started. Of course, Ross isn't here. We have one of our other colleagues. He usually does the other production things in the back. His name is Matt.
He does a lot of church stuff from behind the scenes.
Let's not do this.
What?
That's not it.
He's our pastor.
Hack.
Yeah.
Can you give a little bit of a background of your sports intelligence so the viewers can trust what you say?
So high school Hack.
Thank you. So we are gonna dive into the first game of the week. Bengals are headed to Tennessee. Tennessee had that first seed bye. Bengals beat the Raiders at home. From what I've heard, the weather is going to be very similar as to what it was in Cincinnati. Bengals fan. I'm going to go plus 3.5. I'm going to say Titans still win, though. They're going to win by a field goal late.
Dang. Is that it for you? You don't want to go on like a 10-minute spiel on your team?
Can't do it. Don't want to do it. Hey,
you don't want to be disappointed?
31 years. 31 years. The Bengals are struggling to get that playoff bye or playoff win. RF would have ruined me if they lost.
I don't think so.
If they lost, that would have been horrible.
RF.
I'm free. I'm free. I'm happy. We got the playoff win. At this point, I don't care if we get killed, slaughtered, barely lose, barely win. It's so
with your life.
I'm so happy right now, so it doesn't even matter. So I'll just go plus 3.5. You know what? Fuck it. Bengals winning money line. Fuck it.
That's actually one of the arguments for the sharps of Vegas. They were kind of saying that the Bengals already had their quote unquote Super Bowl last week, and they're going to be living on that energy. But no, I'm gonna take Bengals plus 3.5 here. I said it, I think last podcast or two podcasts ago, but I bet on the Bengals to win the AFC at plus 850, and kind of my thought process behind that was if they win this game, then next week I can hedge out and bet on the Chiefs or Bills. But uh, the one thing that does scare me about this game is that the Titans have like their full team back. I think they have 22 starters, all healthy and everything. And Derrick Henry is definitely going to be back on his bullshit, and I'm kind of worried that he might get like over 100 yards on y'all. Um,
Not
so
cutting you off. I'm not cutting you off right now at all. This is not me cutting you off. But I do actually have more to say. Now that you've started talking, I'm not cutting you off right now.
okay.
So last year, the Bengals were worse. And history matters. Bengals were worse, and we beat the Titans. How did we beat them? So the thing is, Derrick Henry still got his like buck 27 and his touchdown. He still balled out. But what the Bengals were able to do was continuously make field goals and score. So by the time of the fourth quarter, when we were up by like 14 points, they Titans realized they can't run the ball. Like the entire fourth quarter, Derrick Henry didn't even play because they had to pass the ball a shitload.
This was last year.
This was last year when we were way worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I do have a lot to say.
This is what I wanted.
The first
Didn't you tell me to keep it
offensive,
short and
the
sweet?
first quarterback coach that Ryan Tannehill ever had, Zach Taylor in Miami. So Zach Taylor, kind of just like how we ran it up with Jared Goff. Zach Taylor knows Ryan Tannehill tendencies, and I think that's how we were able to beat them last year. So that matters. So the way I see it is, I guess I do have a lot to talk about. The front four for the Titans, very superior. Probably second to none, even better than the Rams, honestly. It's a very underrated front four with Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, and a few other cats.
They have cats on their line.
I knew you were going to say that. And they're going to be able to put up pressure with just those four. They probably don't even need a blitz. But the thing is, they have one of the worst secondaries in the National Football League, like 30th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can continuously score to where even if it's an ugly game, Bengals lost two of the defensive tackles. We're actually getting Josh Tupou back, looks like, who is actually an underratedly really good defensive front for us. Cam Sample's probably going to play inside a rookie. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the media is portraying it to be. That being said, I'm now that I've spoken about this, I'm very bullish on the Bengals because if we can continuously score and if that fourth quarter thing happens again, where now we're forcing Tannehill to throw the ball, that's in our favor. Definitely in our favor. And I think the Titans are last in turnovers differential. And then the last 4 weeks, Tannehill's had like 10 turnovers or something like that, or their offense had 10 turnovers in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So, Bengals by 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I think with the Titans, they're getting Henry back. They have Brown. They have Julio. So, I mean, we will see a difference in Tannehill's production with all three of those guys. But to me, I think this game's more of a coin flip game. So I'm kind of seeing the value with the Bengals. That was kind of my mentality when I made that, futures bet with the Bengals. I thought y'all would beat the Raiders. I thought this game would be a coin flip. I'm gonna ride with that and then probably hedge out next week if y'all win. But I know a lot of the sharps are on the Titans, but I really just I think you have to ride with the better quarterback here. And we don't really know how the health of Henry is. Honestly, he probably is going to be insane, but I don't know what you think of the over under. I mean, it's at 47.5. You seem to be talking like it could be a high scoring game. So
I think it could be.
That would be something. I think a lot of people have been flacking on the Bengals defense from what I've heard. So
yeah, it's the whole defensive tackle thing, which I mean, the Titans do run side to side, so defensive tackle definitely matters, but I think it's blown out of proportion a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I could definitely see like a 27-24 game or something like that. So the over under in that case would be like a 51. So that might be something I'm looking at. I will say that I had two dreams this week, Miles. And we know my dream success with
Were
predictive
they the
sports.
same dream or just different
No,
dreams, same
different. I've
result?
never had.
Were they you awake, waking up, but just super tired and then just thinking
No,
about
they were
football?
legit dreams. The first one was, and to go back on this history of my dreams,
Jesus,
I
this
predicted
is
Baylor
so
to lose when
stupid.
they were
I
the
don't even know
number
to
one
who.
team. I don't remember either.
No, you predicted them to win, you
No,
jackass.
they were number one, and I predicted them to
No,
lose.
Kansas State. It was Baylor versus Kansas State. I'll never forget this. You said Baylor would beat Kansas State. That's what it was.
We were on a camping trip. Wait, was
Yes,
Hack
and you were
there
like,
or no?
No, I was out of town.
it was Tyler.
Oh
It
yeah.
was
Yeah,
Tyler and
I remember
Cole.
that. I remember
And
that.
you
See,
said, I think Baylor's going to beat Kansas State. And
the
it
thing
happened.
was with that is we were so cold when we were
I was
sleeping,
you were miserable.
and my body was just like, okay, this is the time to predict sports. So I had the same experience this week. I got super hot, and I woke
That's
up
the
and I was
complete
like,
opposite then.
well, still, it's just my body freaking out.
So hold on. If it's the opposite in your dreams, sorry, finish your dream.
No, my
What was your dream
dreams
about?
don't pan out. They haven't panned
Nope.
out since 2012 or whenever that was.
So
So that means
we're
it is
taking
going to
too long.
happen.
Your dreams were that the Bengals win.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So my first dream
Okay.
was that they were winning at halftime 19-3. That was my first. So we're going to go first half.
In 2012, the Kansas State Wildcats, this is so fucking stupid. The Kansas State Wildcats were 10-1, number 1 in the country. Alex had a dumbass dream that the 5-4, 2-4 in conference Baylor Bears would beat them, and they beat the shit out of them 52-24. That's it. Every other dream is shit. No other. He didn't even get his own fucking dream right. I reminded him. Bad dreams.
Okay. Then I had a dream last night. So this is my second dream. I've never had two dreams on this game because I just think about Miles all the time. But then the Bengals won, and Miles was so happy and excited, and he was shitting on me the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
He was like throwing stuff at me, and then I woke up.
Shit.
But Bengals first half, Bengals second half, Bengals win the game. Dream success for sure here. Hack, what is your opinion?
All right.
I hate this.
Initially, and I mentioned this prior. I wanted to pick the Bengals, but I for some reason can't bring myself to do it. Like,
Is it my headband?
Probably. Looking at you and knowing that someone that looks like you picked the Bengals makes me want to not do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
No,
That's good.
But I don't know. It's hard. I don't know what to do with the AFC. I feel like it's so like anyone could win. Like the Bengals looked good for a majority of the game last week. It wasn't until like towards the end where it kind of like got a little close, but
They
like
got some
still
help
not really.
from the refs.
But who?
The Bengals.
We move on, move past it.
No, I just think this matchup is interesting. Like obviously the Titans want to run the ball,
Right.
but I think that's gonna and opposite that the Bengals want to just abuse the Titans secondary with Jamar Chase, but it just depends on who Derrick Henry is, like coming back from the injury, because it does seem like he was a little bit rushed to come back for this game. And
supposedly he looks pretty good in practice from what I'm hearing. And
I mean, Zeke looks really good on all his videos he posts of his training. So
no, but like people actually like in the Titans facility.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could also have the argument that like he's sat out a lot of the season, so now he's at like premier health. That could be like
or the other way around.
Yeah, for sure. But
I feel like with the running back, odds are the rest is going to help more than hurt, I would think.
Yeah.
But when you have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, who like has improved his entire career, like each year he looks a little bit better. I wouldn't say he's like incredible or anything, obviously, but when he doesn't have to make the plays to his receivers to win the game, they can dominate, right? Like that's how they win.
Yeah.
And so it just, I don't know, it just scares me.
They
but I
play.
want the Bengals to win.
I
The
think
last thing I'll say about this is so given PFF and given like offensive line rankings,
Did you
the
say
second
PSF
most
or PFF?
PFF, the second the number one most sacked quarterback, Joe Burrow. Number 2, Ryan Tannehill. Trey Hendrickson's going to be back, so there is a heavily good chance that we're going to have maybe a strip sack or some second and 13 longer plays that they have to make up. And the Bengals are number 7 in rush defense, while the Titans are like 28 to 30 in pass defense. So I feel like running the ball wise. Oh, and this is another thing. Like we're going to stack the box, and if anything, not hurt Derrick Henry, but make them really like rely on him and see if that helps us. Because like I said, we're still a good rushing defense.
So you're saying the Bengals are better at stopping what the Titans are best at, more than the Titans would be able to stop what the Bengals are best at.
Right. Yeah, I'd be more scared if the secondary for the Titans was like, number 7.
Which also I think is important too, because like even with a bad rushing defense, you can prevent big plays. If you have a horrible passing defense, you're going to be giving up huge plays.
Yeah.
And that I think that changes the complete momentum of a game. Like Bengals could be doing horrible, get a 50-yard, 30, 40-yard play, even if it's pass interference, and all of a sudden, that shifts everything.
And to take that a step further, we're one of the least penalized teams in the entire league. I think we're actually the least penalized team in the entire league.
Yo, I'm
boom! Lock it in.
Must be
I'm
nice.
flipping.
Zach Taylor, Coach of the Year.
Give it to him. All right, so we spent 2 hours on that first game. We'll move on. 49ers at Packers. We're gonna have another disagreement on this one because I think that the Packers do win, but Bose is gonna be back. Fred Warner does have a low ankle sprain, so that does matter. The secondary is going to be able to look. Devontae Adams is going to get his buck 180, his 200, but that is not going to be enough, unfortunately. The Packers do have one of the better linebackers in the league, but one thing I can guarantee you is Debo will get in the end zone. So that being said, I really have no booty analysis like I do for the Bengals game, but all I have really to go on is the Packers were down with 37 seconds left in their first game, and Rodgers did some Rodgers shit, took it to the length of the field, they kicked the field goal, they win. So
right. I wanna take this next, Alex. Miles, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
How good do you think the Cowboys are as a football team?
How do you want me to answer? 1 out of 10 or
Yeah,
a word?
sure. On a scale of 1 to 10.
Compared to all the other teams?
1 is the Giants and 10 are the
Bengals.
I was going to say Packers, but
so I'd say it's tough with them because I think they have honestly, I think talent-wise, I think they're number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. We
have
talent-wise, but out of the fact of how they perform as a team, a unit, I would have to say 7.
Yeah.
Okay, I personally think that's really high.
7.
So I think so.
I would
based
have
on
said 7.5 or something.
Maybe sure, but with what I saw last week. So for those listening or watching, I guess, I was at the game. I made the dumb mistake of paying $460 to fly from Georgia to Dallas.
Flex.
I mean, I'm paying that back with plasma money. Anyways,
okay.
Watching that game in person, everyone can look at Zeke. Zeke looked horrible. Dak looked average at best. Our team as a whole had penalties coming out of their butt. Connor Williams is trash. People talk about an offensive line that's one of the best in the league. I don't see it. I haven't seen it all year.
With that.
we had 2 defensive holdings that weren't even secondary holdings. Like they were basically lazy defensive linemen dragging an offensive player to the ground. Like
like
we had
three
so many
encroachment
things,
calls.
Bring it full
and,
circle.
and despite all of that, we had an almost miraculous comeback. Like that should have been a game. Like if you're and I know you're not saying the 49ers would win or going to win, but like any other team in the playoffs other than the Eagles blow us out in a game that we play that way.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke had 31 rushing yards. Dak
See,
had like and we didn't even have any turnovers. I don't think. Like
we did. Dak threw
did we
that
have?
really bad interception.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. You're right. But we looked so bad and still had a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that that's a credit to like what you were saying that how good the Cowboys might be. But I don't think the Packers make the same mistakes the Cowboys did.
Yeah.
And I think if we had half the penalties, we blow the 49ers out.
and so
Packers have a better
I get your
run game
point.
than us. Packers have a better pass game than us right now. And mainly it comes down to they're not going to commit the penalties that screw the Cowboys over. They have a better coach than us.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere that the Cowboys suck, the Packers excel at, or at least are average or better in the in the NFL.
Yeah.
Against a team that almost missed the playoffs.
The way I would
miss the playoffs.
The way I would reference that, if you asked me how good are the 49ers, I would say on a scale of like their best potential, they'll be at an 8.5. But the way they perform, I would say 6.5 to 7. I see the 49ers and the Cowboys when it comes to like how they perform similarly better. Like the only reason why I would say the only reason why the 49ers, like you said, didn't blow the brakes off you guys is the quarterback play. If you have a better quarterback, the walls are broken open. Like and so like I get what you mean. Like the only reference I would make is it's hard to make that because when the Bengals played the Jets, we had 3 turnovers in the first half and we lost that game. And they had a shitload of penalties and it was just dumb. But yeah, no, I get that. I do understand that point of how the Packers can play mistake-free football and they have a better quarterback than what the 49ers were going against. But that all being said, you have Bakhtiari, who's their left tackle. He hasn't played like all season. He's coming back, so we don't know what the rest is going to be like. Alexander, one of their corners who has been out for a long time, he's coming back. We don't know how that dust is going to be. Those are 2 positions, unlike the running back and a punter. The left tackle and the corner are 2 positions where if they're gone for a long time, they come back, shit can go left quick. And like the way I've seen the Packers this season is like they don't, and you could probably prove me wrong, but I'm just going off my memory. They don't shit on any teams that aren't that are good. They'll beat them, but they don't shit on them. Like it's not like a bloodbath. And so that's why
if you look at metrics, and I say that so generically because I've just kind of seen things here and there, so I couldn't like specifically tell you which ones. But my understanding is that really the Packers have outperformed statistically. Like their record is better than what it should be based on other metrics that people have in the league. And so I think
are you meaning what I said? Like they're squeaking out wins, or what do you mean?
Yeah. So like, I guess that they would be like middle of the pack in certain stats, or like basically when you take individual statistics as a whole, as they in their performance, they shouldn't be the number
13-3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and I guess that's my point.
Their record, basically, their record is better than who they actually are as a team.
I think that's just like the Aaron Rodgers, thing to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason why they beat the Cardinals, and I think it was like the Rams or something. What team did they play on like Thursday Night Football or something that they beat like last second as well?
Chiefs.
No, they lost the Chiefs because they had Aaron
Oh
Rodgers
yeah, they
wasn't
had
in the
that dumb
game.
quarterback. Yeah, it
But
was the Cardinals. That AJ Green
yeah,
interception.
but there was another
Oh
game
yeah.
too that Mason Crosby got like a late field goal. Um, oh, maybe was it 49ers?
Yeah, there was 37 seconds left.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
hmm
But so I mean, but that's my point. I feel like with a lot of those good teams, even the Cardinals, even though Devontae wasn't there, like if it's a good team, they squeak that shit out. That's why the 5.5. Like I'm still taking Packers win. I'm there. 5.5 though. It's fucking like in my head. If you're saying 5.5, that means like they're gonna beat the brakes off of them. And
I mean,
that's how I
I
see
think
it mentally.
that's just winning by a touchdown.
I mean, maybe, but I think the 49ers are better than that. But weather matters. So,
I mean, Debo Samuel did look godly against the
mm-hmm,
Cowboys last week. Like he was everywhere. He was doing everything.
mm-hmm. And
So I
they
mean, you
ran
do
the
have a
ball
point there.
okay. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But Alex, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much am like kind of agreeing with Hack about this. I'm taking Packers minus 5.5. I think if you were to take some sort of 49ers bet, I think the best way to do it would be to do a first half kind of situation. Um, just because you're going to trust Aaron Rodgers down the line, and maybe there is some rust on the Packers end, and maybe the 49ers kind of get the best of them in the first half with like running the ball and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I kind of said it last podcast about the Cowboys. I thought the only way that we lose is if we really choked, and we really did choke, and the 49ers took advantage of that. So I just don't think the 49ers are that good of a team. I've been saying it all year. I don't get the hype around them, and they're an okay team, and they have a decent floor, but they don't have
What do
a.
you what do you think they're bad at other than quarterback?
I mean, I think their quarterback play is like super limited.
Yeah, I mean they still
I think
have. I mean, we talk offensive line, they're second, or if not, probably
yeah.
third.
No,
Defensive front, they're up
I
there.
mean, me, it's more of a quarterback situation. So, as long as Jimmy G plays, or he's an okay quarterback or a decent
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. And I look at the Packers side, which the Packers are at home, and they have the best quarterback in the NFL. So I'm going to lean on their side. I think their offense is so limited to the run that the Packers can just eat them up.
I also think what you just said about it being in at Lambeau Field, like that was huge. At the game, I'm not kidding. It was at least half
Yeah,
49ers fans. Like that
which
was
is
not a true
shocking, but
home game.
right.
It was so loud in there when Cowboys had a third down or
Mm-hmm.
when the 49ers had a good play. Like it was loud. It was
Yeah.
just as loud when the 49ers did something as it was when the
Yeah.
Cowboys did something.
I definitely agree with Hack in the sense that like the fact that we were even remotely in that game is like disgusting because we like everything was against, not necessarily that we were like unlucky, but we were playing so bad everywhere, and the fact that we only ended up losing by 5 points or whatever it
It was
was,
six,
six,
but
yeah, is like so strange to me. Like Hack said, if we were playing the Packers or the Bucks in a game like that, we would have lost by like 3 touchdowns. And I that's kind of me saying like the 49ers aren't that good of a team. And now they have to go to Lambeau, who is like one of the most like advantageous like home fields in the NFL. It's a playoff game.
I
Aaron
mean, do you think
Rodgers,
they still get that 5.5 if it's going to be snowing?
I don't think it's
he,
supposed to be snowing. The
It's
weather's supposed to be
partly
sweet.
cloudy with occasional snow
I
showers. It
mean,
looks like the low is going to be 4
we know what the
degrees.
49ers are going to do. They're going to try to slow the game down as much as they can. Don't get the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. And sure, I would have much rather, and maybe I can, buy the points down to where I can get a decent line at -3. But I I just can't be on the opposite side. I can't take the 49ers. Like
Okay.
even last week, I said the same thing. I couldn't trust Jimmy G, and he was ready to blow the game. Like it was so funny because I was watching the Cowboys game, and the commentators are like, "Oh, Jimmy G, man, he's locking his spot up, and like he's gonna win this game, and blah blah." He throws that horrible interception, and then they're like, "Oh man, this is his last game." Like, I don't know. It's
But
just
could
so
you make
funny.
that same argument that like you like if the 49ers didn't fuck up, like would y'all be able to like shit on them more? Like 49ers were fucking up too. It's not like just y'all
I don't
were
think
Were
they
fucking up.
they?
were.
Where
No,
where were they?
I think they were playing their best game minus Jimmy G. Like, I think they
And
played
really, all
almost
Jimmy
like
G did was
perfect
have that
game.
one interception.
Right.
Like that was really his only bad
That was
play.
it?
Yeah.
From,
That's
Yeah.
what I
mean,
think. I mean, I think
I
they're
don't think
running
he
the
did
ball.
anything. He didn't do anything great, but I don't think he did anything bad until that interception.
Jimmy G was just
And then
dunking
also
it
when
like,
Bosa left too. Bosa
yeah.
left the game. I thought that should have been something y'all capitalized on for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I just feel like it's a playoff game. I've always said that the 49ers are like a good team, but they don't have that like high ceiling, and this is one of those games that like they're just not going to like be in it to me. That's
I
just
do
like
think
how I look at it.
Debo's a mismatch for the
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
Packers run
Debo
defense. So
like
that's
And
he's
Kittle.
Debo's
Yeah.
way better than I already thought Debo was good, but like watching him like is like
I agree.
insane.
Yeah.
Like is crazy, and I definitely agree with Miles in the sense that like he'll probably get a touchdown. Like that's probably a prop that I'll look into, like just Debo TD. But I the only way that I could even like think about betting on the Niners would be if it were like at a 7.5 type situation. Um, and like if I'm getting the Packers at less than a touchdown, to me, Lambeau's worth like 3 or 4 points. And like I already think that the Packers are like 3 points better than the 49ers. If they're playing in the Super Bowl, like that'd be a 3.5. Then you add home field on there, it should be like 7.5. So the fact that it's at 5.5 to me means there's value. So that's how I look at it.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on. Rams with a very much. I mean, so I think the Rams defensively looked really good last week.
Yeah, they did.
Offensively, I mean, it kind of goes into that quarterback thing. It didn't look amazing. Cam Akers looked great. And then the Buccaneers against the Eagles, defense looked really well. Looked like they were playoff ready. They were just bullying the Eagles' offensive line. And then their offense was just able to just do whatever they wanted against the Eagles. All that being said, when I looked at the two, first I look at the Rams with the Cardinals, Eagles. Right now, today, I would say the edge goes to the Cardinals. Mostly probably because defensively, I think the Cardinals are better than the Eagles. But even that win, when I look at both of those defenses, I think I like the Rams a little bit more, mostly because of Jalen Ramsey. We talked about this before. I do know it was before the season started, and I'm not 100% sure now, so I'll probably check while y'all are talking. But Jalen Ramsey has only had in his career only one time that a receiver's ever gotten a buck on him, and it was DeAndre Hopkins. It looks like for most of the time when he's ever matched up on Mike Evans, with both of them being big bodies, he takes him out of the equation. So at this point, you have whatever track stars, and then you have the run game of the Buccaneers, and then you have Gronk that are going to be affiliated. So if the Rams can get to Brady, blah 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 blah, there's a shot. On the other flip, on the other way around, Stafford did not. He didn't. He won the game. That's it. Odell looked fucking good though. Odell looked good. Cooper looked good. Cam Akers looked really good. And so I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go Rams. Even though the quarterback thing, you got Brady in the playoffs, he'll squeak it out. But I just think if Mike Evans is gone or out of the equation, then I think you're asking too much of Brady at that point. And so it's different if Mike Evans is playing. So that being said, I just gotta take the Rams. I have to.
Alex, you can go.
Yeah. Yeah, I have Bucks -3 on this one. It was one of my early plays right when I saw the line. I personally thought it was off because I thought it should have been maybe closer to 3.5 or 4. I think Tom Brady at home is a pretty big difference, and I think the Bucks are better than the Rams, and so to me the line doesn't make sense. Once again, it's playoff Brady versus playoff Stafford, so I'm gonna lean with the better quarterback here, and I definitely agree. I think this game, another kind of thing that I was on early was the under. I think it was under 48.5 is what I got because I do think both teams' defenses look pretty freaking good. And to me, this game is probably going to be closer to like a 24 to like 20 type situation. So probably the total will be closer to like 46, 45, 46, and it's sitting at like 48 right now. Um, but I definitely agree. The Rams shocked me on Monday. Even kind of what we've been saying all podcasts for the last 5 weeks about the Cardinals, how they've been kind of like on a downward spiral. I still did not expect that terrible performance by their team, like in all aspects. Worse than the Cowboys. I mean, honestly, it was more embarrassing, which is hilarious at Robert Gray. Karma is a bitch.
Gosh.
Yikes.
But I definitely was shocked that the Rams were putting that kind of game out. Um, so and the Bucks game is exactly how I thought it would turn out. I thought they were going to murder the Eagles. I did not understand your take on the Eagles at all, because I feel like a lot of like real friends they'll like talk the Eagles up, but then the argument that they've used against the Cowboys is that we're in a bad division. But then they won't say that about the Eagles, who owed, and the last game kind of wasn't great, but the Eagles 0-2'd against us, and they just haven't looked good all season, in my opinion. Um, but I mean, Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny, and I'm riding -$3. I will have to. I'm gonna ask you all this because I kind of looked it up after Miles was talking about Ramsey. But what do y'all think the receiving yards is for Mike Evans, the prop?
So I am looking now. Um, Ramsey, the first time they played in 2020, held Evans to 49 yards this year. Earlier past this year, they played and Mike Evans did go up on 106, but all of it wasn't on Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important. And then another portion of it was that's when Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown were playing.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, if I'd be shocked if that shit said anything over like 60. If it said anything over 60,
My mind went to 87. That was like the number that came to mind.
I'd go under 60 easy.
It's at 75 or 74.
I'm going under.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd go under that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an argument. I can see an argument for the Rams in the sense that like the Bucks offensive line's beat up. Godwin's not there. Mike Evans is playing, and then Gronk is, but then no Antonio Brown. But I just when it comes to me, I'm big on quarterback play, and we've seen Brady play way better at home. He's comfortable that way, and Stafford to me has been a letdown this season. I had him as like a top 10 quarterback in my pre-rankings, and I'm seeing him more as like a 15 now. And I see Tom Brady at least in the playoffs at top 3, maybe even top 2, just because he's one of those guys that you have to trust. So that's kind of my opinion on that. So I'll say Bucks win like probably like 24-20 or something like that. That's my play.
I have Rams money line on this one. I'm with Mills. The one thing I think, I don't know, I see it both ways, but it's like the only thing that the Bucks have going for them is Tom Brady. Like that's all they have, which I mean, if he's the best to do it, then like sure, that's a huge thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
but they've lost Antonio Brown. Like, they've lost a lot of weapons. The Rams, I think, feel like they have something to prove. I don't think many people put much stock in the Rams. It's like after all their trades, right? On paper, it's like, okay, these guys are going to be gods, and then they just were losing, and they weren't looking good even in their wins. There's like, it wasn't great, and so for them to come out in a playoff game against their division rival and to like absolutely obliterate them, like. Cardinals didn't lose that game. The Rams destroyed the Cardinals.
It was bad.
Like they couldn't do anything. I do think Kyler Murray still is very panicky in the pocket. So Tom Brady's better when the pocket breaks down. I think he's better, but also or like more poised.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the mobility that Kyler does. Like, I don't know. There's just so much that the Cardinals have that the Rams were able to just not even allow. That the Bucks don't even have the opportunity to even get that. So if the pocket breaks down, Tom Brady can't really scramble.
Yeah.
Like, if the pocket breaks down, he doesn't have, other than Mike Evans, and I guess Gronk, but like, they don't have the weapons to do what the Cardinals could do.
I mean, I feel like Fournette is an
It's
underrated
gonna
weapon.
be. I can tell you now. It's what the Cardinals were unfortunately not able to do. Capable of doing. You blame Cliff or whoever is. They weren't able to immediately get the ball out of Kyler's hands. That ball is not going to be in Tom Brady's hands very long at all.
Yeah, and I do think that's there's obviously something to be said for that. I think it's huge. Like, momentum is huge in the playoffs, and I think the Rams have such momentum right now compared to the Bucks who beat the Eagles. Okay, cool. Like,
right.
The Cowboys obliterated them, and then they came out the next week and looked like crap. You know, like, it doesn't mean much to beat the Eagles. No offense, Brent. And so, yes, I agree with you, Alex. Like, I think that there's a lot to be said for a better quarterback. And Matt Stafford's been so high and so low that it's the safest bet to pick the most consistent quarterback for sure. But man, the Rams defense was just so good. Like, it was just so good. And like what Miles said, like, Odell looked insane again.
This will be the last thing I'll say. I guess I was more bullish on the Eagles for sure, but I just thought that they meshed well with the Buccaneers. But I mean, if y'all still think the Eagles are bad, we'll go with your point of view, right? So, the Saints shut out the Buccaneers. That's everyone's there for except for Godwin, I believe.
Yeah.
They shit on the Panthers, not a good team. Should have lost to the Jets. Lose Antonio Brown, but they won that game. But it's the Jets. Shit on the Panthers, not a good team. And then, retrospect, Eagles not a good team, and they shit on that. Like, there hasn't been like, they haven't played like the Bills after they lost all their weapons. And so I think this is going to be. I think if they beat the Rams, I might have them taking it because I think it's not that I don't think the Rams are better than the Packers, but I think that the Rams are so like they have so many weapons with Kupp and Akers and Odell that if they're able to isolate them and beat them and Brady can go out there and beat that Rams defense with Miller or Vaughn looked great. Vaughn Miller and Aaron Donald, like they looked really good. If he beats them, I think he can beat anybody.
I think if Cam has it like 75 to 80% of the game he had last week, I think the Rams win. Like I think it kind of depends because I think everything else is like you see where the Rams can be good. You see where they can attack with Odell. You see where their defense can be dominant. You also see the same for the other side with the Bucks. So I think it really hinges upon how well Cam Akers is able to play. Because if Cam Akers can't get anything going, then I don't think they win. I think we know that Leonard Fournette's going to at least get something going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always said that the Rams are the Lakers of the NFL, and
I don't
now
think that's accurate.
They don't have a Russell Westbrook.
no, I think like when it came down to it, like early in the season, and especially like after they acquired like Von Miller and like OBJ, they're a team with a lot of like freakish like athletes, but they haven't really like done anything, I guess, and that's kind of like how I view the Lakers. Like they have three super good athletes, but they haven't like done anything.
But
No,
that's how I feel.
I
I
think the
agree.
Cowboys and the Rams are kind of similar, but the Rams actually now are like doing something.
That's
But
my whole thing,
if the
right? Like,
Rams lost to the Cardinals last week,
but they didn't. They
no, I know,
dominated the
but
Cardinals.
what I'm saying is people
So
would compare them to the Cowboys.
yeah, for sure.
Right? You know?
So you can't compare them then.
But
No,
that's my whole point. Is that like what you're saying? They should have a freakish team. Like they should be dominating, and we finally saw them do that in a playoff game.
But
Not even just in a
you could
regular.
also
So that's
put
that's scary.
you could use the argument that the Cardinals were kind of a meh team at the time as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
and
fair.
I
That's
definitely
fair.
see Miles's argument in the sense that the Bucks kind of look shitty the past 5 weeks or whatever. But like outside of the Rams like murdering the Cardinals, like were there moments that they were like insane outside of them beating the Cardinals again like 3 weeks ago? Because they lost to the 49ers right before the playoffs. And they
Yeah, I mean,
kind
I
of
think
choked that
at
game.
most they
But
just had moments within a game.
yeah, I mean,
At
I would
most,
say the
yeah.
Rams have looked better as of recently than they have
Yeah.
like all season. I definitely agree with that. When it comes to like my thing, I'm just kind of like thinking like it's the playoffs and like Tom Brady's gonna get his shit together. This isn't just
Yep.
some like week 14 regular season game. This is like playoff football now. So when I look at the playoffs, I assume like 10 out of 10 best football. And so like
Mhm.
when comparing, like I just have to take like Tom Brady and the home team. So that's how I look at it. But
Yep.
Bills going to Kansas City. Shit, dude. This is definitely another one. I took all underdogs this week. Bills money line, man. What is it? Hold on a second.
it's at
Plus
-2 now, I
155.
think. Or
No. If I go Bills money line, Rams money line, Packers money line, Bengals money line, it's at plus 1576. Dude, I mean that's just what I think. I know it'll bust, but the Bills shitted on the Patriots, and then the Chiefs shitted on the Steelers. I don't think that told us very much of anything. It looked like though Josh Allen being capable, because that Patriots defense is immaculate. It's a good defense, the Patriots. This is a coin flip game. I don't know if you can really say one thing about one quarterback that the other one can't do. I mean, you have Josh Allen's rushing ability, but I think that's equally as fair as how Patrick Mahomes could move in the pocket and how he can, step up in the pocket and get rid of the ball. So I think those cancel each other out. Running games, neither of them are existent. Whether be the Bills running back or the Chiefs running back, there's no running game. Defenses, they both turned up the heat. Like they're both playing really well. Receivers, you got Diggs and Dawson. Kelsey is, of course, way better than Dawson, and then Tyreek is his thing. But I think, like they're a very, very equal team. The only thing I could say about this is I think the offensive line of the Chiefs is a little bit. No, they're both really not that great. I don't know. Like I think when I see this one, I just saw. I guess what I want to say I saw a little bit more like I want this shit from Josh Allen, like a little bit more of like I want this shit. And it kind of looked like the Chiefs are just like, hey, like we're gonna come out here, we're gonna kill you. But it looked like the Bills like really fucking want it. So take that what you will. That's why I'll just take the Bills money line. I don't know if there's a lot to say about this game, but go ahead.
I feel the exact same way as you. Like these teams are identical. Like they literally are the exact same team.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's huge, I'm going to take the Bills. And I think the reason being, like, I know not everyone was super high on the Patriots. They've had really, like, a really up and down year. And I think going into the playoffs, people weren't high on. But to beat a Bill Belichick coach team twice the way they did, I think says something. Like, so I think I'm just gonna ride that, right? Like, I think when you beat a coach like that as easily as you do, when everyone's saying, "Oh, he knows how to stop opponents, he knows how to limit what other teams do well," and they
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to do that, other than the game that was an absolute dumpster fire of a game, right? So I just have to. I
And
think that I'm gonna ride the Bills.
this is Diggs' second year in Buffalo, right?
No, I think it's been more than that. It's probably like 3 or 4.
I feel like it's his second, maybe third. But that picture of Diggs, like that meme picture of Diggs with his hands on his hip and seeing the other team celebrate,
Oh
was
yeah,
that against the Chiefs?
yeah, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's his second. I don't know,
I'm trying to look it up right now.
but
Oh, yeah, second.
yeah. So this could mean like a big deal to them to beat the Chiefs. And what the Bengals showed, which a lot of teams, whatever you want to say, like a lot of teams can get faith from seeing how other teams beat them. And so the way the Bengals beating them, when the Bengals beat them, and how the Bengals beat them showed that, okay, this beast can die. Like they can fucking die. So I think that's going to help the Bills for sure. But Alex, you go ahead.
Yeah, this one pains me, but I'm on the Chiefs here, -2.
Yikes.
I've been a Bills advocate for a while now. They're like my AFC squad. So I think that to me kind of means that I feel good about my play, like the Chiefs -2, because I have been backing the Bills so much and I'm not on their side for this. Because, I mean, you kind of have seen it, Miles. I picked them in every single Patriots matchup, and I've picked them, they were one of my Super Bowl contenders this year. I think this is like definitely the AFC Championship. To me, like either team that wins this one goes to the Super Bowl. Sorry, Miles, but it's true. Um, I think I've been saying that Josh Allen's like a top 5 quarterback for a while now. But this to me is like, and I agree with what y'all are saying, but I'm now looking at home field advantage and Patrick Mahomes and the history of the two teams. And I've just seen the Chiefs have made it for 2 years now. And here they are at home. You get Mahomes, he's a better quarterback. You have the better coach. And so the fact that they're only 2-point favorites makes me want to pick the Chiefs here. And to me, I think the line should be closer to like, -3, 3.5. And the fact that it's at 2 means that like I just have to love the Chiefs in this. And
So let me
if the
ask
line
you.
were at 3.5, 4, maybe I'd be like, all right, there's value on the money line on the Bills. But to me, I have to pick the Chiefs.
Let me ask you. So kind of like how you said with the Cowboys last week, when you don't get why the line is as low as it is, where it is at, that makes you more confident in what you think, as opposed to like, shouldn't that like make you
Confuse
be
me.
like what the like this
You
game
think
should
you're
be at
smarter than
this,
the people setting the lines?
right? Like what am I
No, I
missing?
mean,
Like
I
what am
think
I not getting?
I feel like I have like my system, and like I like to think what the line is and what the line should be. And if it's not that, then I have to pick what side I'm on. So like when I look at this line, I think it's going to be Chiefs -3, -3.5. If it's at Chiefs -2, then I have to pick the Chiefs.
But do you ever? I guess the question, and Miles, correct me if I'm wrong. It's more of a question for me, at least, of like, so you think the line should be 3, 3.5. You see it at 2. do you ever stop and think, well, maybe I'm wrong and it shouldn't be 3 or 3.5 and it should be 2?
Right.
I mean,
Or do you just
yes.
automatically jump and say, I'm right, the line's wrong?
No, but
No, you're saying I'm because if it was so, let me ask this hypothetical just so I can see where your head is at. If you said this should be -3.5,
Chiefs.
Chiefs, that means if you see -2, that means you should be more confident in it, as opposed to if it said -4.5, that's when you would like.
I would.
What am I missing?
No, if it were at 4.5, then I would be picking the Bills because I think the line should be at 3 or 3.5. So then I see value in the other team. Because
Okay, so yeah, so if it's -2, that means you have I'm right
there's value
because you said -3.
Right. So then I'm like, okay, I get a point or a point and a half of value on the Chiefs. Like when I think about it, these two teams, in my opinion, are probably equal, right? And then now Vegas is giving a 3-point, or they're supposed to give a 3-point home field advantage. So in my head, the line should be 3 because these teams are equal. But
like if it's neutral field, it should be a coin flip,
right? Exactly.
Type of thing.
But in this case, the Chiefs are at home, and then to me, you have to probably add like half a point to the sense that like the Chiefs are, they've made it 2 times in a row now. Patrick Mahomes, playoffs, better coach. Like they just have more of like a history. So in that
they know how to get there. Yeah.
Right. So then that also like adds to that. So then to me, I'm like, okay, I predict the line. This should be at like, more than a field goal. But the fact that it's like less means that like I'm getting almost like a coin flip of a game when they're at home. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm saying this from a person that like likes the Bills. So like I've done this like I've done it 2 times now where I like loved a pick. The first one was the Packers. Week 1, I fucking loved that because I thought the line should have been like 7 and it came out at like 4 and then the Saints won and killed them. And then the second one that I really liked was the Cowboys. I thought that line should have, like, I don't know what you thought, Hack, but I thought the line should have been like -6, and it came out as -3, and I was like, I don't understand this. And so it's not like as drastic, but I'm looking at it as like a coin flip, and then I get home field, I get Mahomes, I get better coach, so then I have to lean on a 2, like odds are the game they're not going to win by 1. It most likely will probably be like a 3-point game. So then I'm going to lean towards the Chiefs. That's like kind of my thing. And that's what a lot of like Vegas people do. They kind of have like a power rankings like on like an Excel. They're like, all right, this team's number 1. They're like 10 points better than like the second, or 2 points better than the second place team. And then you have this team and that team, and then the Giants would be like 14 points worse. And then so when the line comes out, they kind of like compare it, and they'll be like, okay, this team, the Chiefs are 14 points more than the Giants, and then they get home, so then the line should be like -16, -17 or whatever. So that's just like kind of like how I've been doing it, and like how I kind of like come up with my picks, I guess. So
yeah, the last thing I want to say, because like I definitely see, right, like the Chiefs, when they weren't playing to what everyone thought they should, no one could really explain it, right? Like it was just like, why aren't the Chiefs playing as well with the same people, with the same coach, right? And so now that they've started winning, they look better. So I do think like there's a point to that, Alex, like you were saying. But when I look at their last 4 games of the regular season, I'm looking at the Bills right now. They beat the Panthers, Patriots, Falcons, and Jets. So other than the Patriots, all bad teams. But they beat them by more than a touchdown. Well over a touchdown. The closest game was against the Patriots, and that was a 12-point game. The rest were worse. Like they beat them more. Then I look at the Chiefs' last 4 games. Chargers, they won by 6. They blew out the Steelers. They lost to the Bengals. They beat the Broncos by 4. That doesn't leave me very confident
I think that
for
Broncos
the
game
Chiefs.
was kind of like it was like semi meaningless to them.
But that was also a Drew Lock Broncos team too.
Yeah.
Maybe Teddy does something a little bit more convincingly.
And that's fair. Like the last game of the season, but yeah, like Miles was saying, it's Drew Lock. But it just the last 4 games of the regular season don't leave me convinced. And even honestly, their playoff win against the Steelers, the first quarter, they looked bad, and especially against a team that like Big Ben literally threw in the towel days before it happened. And so, and I know that they went into the game trying. I know they didn't just give up.
Do y'all care about
But still.
the Bills beating them 38-20 in the beginning of the season in Kansas City?
Not really.
Does that matter?
No.
It may be an interesting talking point, but I don't think it holds much weight at this point.
To me, like, and kind of like going off of what y'all said, I do think these teams are very similar. And there were times, just like the Chiefs were kind of bad at the beginning of the season, there were times that the Bills looked really, really bad. I mean, they lost to the Jags. You know, that Patriots game was really disgusting. The fact, like, that was like the most shocking game for me to watch, because I'm over here like, here's Josh Allen, like, this guy has like a rocket cannon of an arm. Mac Jones is like a rookie. There's no way that the Patriots should even be in this game. And the fact that they won like that convincingly was like a huge shocker to me. And like it kind of like put question marks for the Bills like moving forward.
I mean, to be fair though, that the Jags game was the beginning of November, so like we're 2 full months away from that at this point.
But I mean, I think the Chiefs have looked like pretty good since like week 8, at least in like a general, standpoint.
Actually, over 2 months. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
I see your point. I think that's fair.
I think these are pretty equal teams. So when it comes to like the mathematic way to look at it, I only see 2 points when I think that there should be 3 or 5. Like kind of what I was saying earlier with the Packers. Like I think that line should have been like 7.5. I'm getting 5.5. I'm like, all right, yeah, touchdown, hell yeah. Like Bucks to me should probably be like 3.5, because like I see Tom Brady like just being in the playoffs. To me, like I think that should give like a half a point. But
what is that one at 3?
It's at 3. It even moved to like 2.5. I think y'all have like the sharper like view of this. But when it comes down to like playoff games, like I just feel more comfortable taking like a team with more of like a history, like quarterbacks with more like have kind of been there type situations. So that's just like kind of my mentality on this. And like what I was kind of saying earlier, like I was a huge Bills advocate like the whole season, and for me to look at this line and be like, I like the Chiefs, that's kind of like showing to me, I guess, because those other 2 games that I kind of said when it came down to the Packers Saints and then the Cowboys 49ers, I had like a slight bias. Like I liked those teams, and then I also thought the other team was like overrated. I thought the 49ers were overrated. I thought the Saints were overrated. So this game, like I was mentally ready to bet on the Bills. I was like, I know I'm going to bet on the Bills. And then I think there was just like too much overreaction, which I've also seen happening this year, where there's like too many people coming in. They'll even like look at the like sharp guys and they'll be like, all right, I'm gonna bet this, and like there's a lot of talks and it's just like it's just moving the line too much to where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take this team. So that's like kind of my mentality on that.
Okay. So let's talk locks. If you guys had to lock something in, we'll do a little parlay, warlay, carlay, Charlie's Arlay. What would your lock of the week be? I'll start it off. I think out of all 4 games, Rams money line is my most confident one. I think Rams money line is where my heart is at.
What's your take?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but well, I'll do Bengals game over. That's gonna be my lock for the
Okay.
week.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that this might be kind of like difficult to do because there's only like 4 games.
I was considering
'Cause
even doing the Buffalo Kansas City under.
I think
Um,
I'm in agreement with that too because that's another line that I feel that is also overinflated because
mhm.
I think everyone and their mom is like, all right, that game's going to be 35-31, but like when we get there, it could be like 21-27. You know what I mean? And it's that 54. That's like a
That's
high
so
total.
much.
So that's kind of like my same kind of mentality with the over under, and I think a lot of people when it comes to like the public view is they just want to hit the over like all the time because that's like the fun thing to do. But
Hmm.
this line probably started at 51 or 52 and it's already bounced up to 54. I thought the same thing with the Cowboys game last week. All these people were betting on the over. I saw all these people like, all right, this is going to be, Dak's putting up these like insane numbers and like Jimmy G, they're going to get in like a shootout type situation. And I'm like, no, like Jimmy G's average, like Dak hasn't been playing that well. It's going to be low scoring. And when it comes to the Bills Chiefs, like, sure, both of these quarterbacks are crazy. But at the same time, I think their defenses are both like legitimate. So for them to put up a total of 54 is like pretty obnoxious in my opinion.
It's I don't know. I think I disagree with you guys on that one. I think both of these teams have been like they've been putting up points, both of them. Like I don't know if these defenses are like how they'll fare against like the other offense. Because as I'm looking at like who they've played, it doesn't look like they've played any like impressive defenses. So maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean I'm just looking at the Bills, and the Bills are like consistently putting up 30 points. Like that's just what
Hmm.
their mantra is, and you already know the Chiefs are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I just
just
think in a playoff game, I think that changes. I think.
I definitely see what y'all are saying though. Like it being a playoff game, this being teams that like they know each other well. So I guess I see it for sure what y'all are saying,
yeah,
but
I think when it comes down to it, I think there's just always going to be like some overinflation on the over. So I'm always skeptical about picking the over because I think that's like the fun thing to do. And so they have to
mhm.
like adjust the line accordingly because not many like random betters like Jimmy, 70 years old, sitting on his couch is going to be like, yeah, I'm gonna hit that under. Like it's not like the fun thing to do. So
Well, the fact that both teams can put up points is
yeah,
why I switched. Like that was going to be my lock as I was looking at it, and then I kind of got scared, and so I went with the over for the Bengals Titans.
yeah.
So if we did over for the Bengals Titans, money line for the Rams, and then under.
Well, Alex, is that for sure your lock?
Uh, honestly, my lock probably. I think I can comfortably because this won't necessarily screw up our parlay. I can do the under for the Tampa Bay game because that was one of the lines that I really
What's that
liked.
one at?
That one was at 48, 48
48.
and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, I like that.
Because my lock was going to be Bucks -3, but I think like in order to kind of like keep everything like our parlay good, I will hit the under on that game because I think either way it's gonna just
Is
give
five
me
and a half Packers not your? You seem pretty.
no that one
That's true. You were pretty hard on that one too.
yeah I think with that game I think the Packers like win, but I'm kind of with you in the sense that like I would feel way more comfortable being like at -3. So like
Mm-hmm.
if there's a way that I
Hmm.
could like buy it down realistically, I would like hit Packers -3. But
So
I think there's like a 90% chance that they win. But like this, when it comes down to the spread, it can like deter me a little bit. But I do like
mhm.
it. But if I had to make like a lock, I feel like the Bucks Rams. I just think it's going to be a defensive game. The total to me could be closer to 46-44 area. So
Yeah, I
that would
agree.
be my lock.
That could be an ugly ugly game.
Yeah.
Bengals at 47.5 over moneyline Rams.
Miles, take like an inch away from your mic.
Oh, my
It
bad.
sounds so much better.
Inch away, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, dude, that's great.
And then 48
Under.
under. It's at plus 720.
If
I
you
think that's
switch
the
the
one.
Bengals game to the Packers game under, what does that make it?
Same thing.
Oh, it doesn't change it. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I don't know how
The way parlays
over
work,
unders work.
the way the like parlays work is just they're just using like math, I guess, to like create that
Well,
like the
yeah.
chance.
I just didn't know. Like on over unders, are the odds typically always the same, no matter what the game is?
Yeah, I mean,
Usually, yeah.
minus 110
Okay.
is always going to be like the normal.
Yeah.
Like
I never bet, so I don't know,
Yeah.
particularly overs and unders.
So basically, when you set up like 3 bets that are all like
Wait, no,
minus-
chat. He bets every week. He bets a lot. That's why y'all are listening to the pod. I don't know why he said that. He's an
just because
gambler.
I don't look at the
He's an
the
avid
odds
gambler.
of a bet
There's a
doesn't mean I
reason
don't.
why he's sitting in a hotel right now. We can't.
Yes, he is in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we
nope,
can't
we'll
tell
say his
you
location. Yep, he's in Las
why.
Vegas because he's gambling a lot.
I just don't do overs and unders.
There you
It's the
go.
only thing I don't look at as far as odds.
Mm.
Right.
I mean,
don't
what
get odds.
was your record in the over under or
The
ESPN
spreads?
thing? Yeah.
I was the only one. Like I was well over 500. Let me look.
I was trying to find it because I guess the whole playoff thing that we were doing messed it up, but I couldn't find what your like,
I
record
was 143 and 126.
So you probably would have been like profitable if you were betting, because
Yes.
basically what you have to do is be like over 55% in order to be profitable, because Vegas will always take 5% of like your winnings, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So that all to be said, that didn't make sense. We will be starting our mock draft segments very, very soon. Not even our mock draft segments, but just our in general NFL draft segments, and that will be, fortunately and unfortunately, every single day. It's going to be a thing that we will do. I already have the schedule laid out of like how I want to post this and like how I want to tackle it, and
That's disgusting.
everything that I want to include. So that unfortunately means I'm going to have 15 minutes worth of material where I'm talking about the Jets, 15 minutes of material where I'm talking about the Jaguars, the Bears. Holy shit, just saying that out loud is a little bit tilting. But I think it's going to be possible for a lot of you who don't know a lot about betting or just want to know about draft. It's going to be a good opportunity to really hone in on that. So that's going to be fun. Slight chance we might switch up our name from Tease My Pick to something a little bit more just generally sportsy. But we'll see. That's all I got though.
I was gonna say on the draft, there was one podcast I was listening to. I guess I don't know how to say his name. Ikem Ekwonu. Is that it?
Ike Ekwonu.
So his odds for the number 1 pick
won't happen.
No. Like 3
the
weeks
number
ago.
1 pick won't happen.
No, the number 1 pick for him 3 weeks ago was at like plus 10,000, and all these sharps hammered it all the way to plus 600. So what I am trying to say is that a lot of people believe that the Jags are going to pick a tackle, I guess. So it kind of like helps your case with like Evan Neal.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay, I see what your point is.
Yeah.
Ike Kwanu, like from everything that I've been reading about him, is he's going to be an interior guy. Like he's not going to be a tackle, even though he played tackle.
Yeah.
They don't think like when it comes to his combine and shit, like his arm's going to be sexy enough, like long enough. So
like
he's
Connor
getting
Williams type.
Sure, dude. That's where you want to go with
I'm
it.
upset at who's supposed to be the top picks this year because they're not going to be very profitable for sports cards.
See,
They're not skill position.
that I agree and disagree. It depends where these guys go. So I see what you mean, but if Hutchinson, well, I can't think of his name right now.
Aiden Hutchinson, isn't
If
it?
Aiden Hutchinson goes to the Detroit Lions, profitable because he's a Michigan kid. People are gonna fucking love that. If he's a Michigan kid and he goes to Detroit Lions and he's a beast, there's a chance that could be profitable. If Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh kid, goes to the Steelers and he's actually fucking good and pops off, that could be profitable. Like there are some weird ones where it's like that kid is from that area to where if he pops off, like it could be profitable.
Yeah, I'm just talking from the standpoint of like
There's
quarterbacks
now like
typically sell, right? Like
Miles.
you don't have Mac Jones, you don't have Trevor Lawrence, like you don't have those players in the top 10, right? So like,
When
But
do you-
doesn't it like given that wouldn't it matter on how the doesn't how the player play give the card value, or does like the player pre-draft, is that what gives the card value?
it's I mean it's a mix of both, right? Like obviously people are gonna want to buy cards of a player when they do well. That's when you want to sell, right?
Mhm.
And people are like, oh, I'll pay for. I mean, look at Jamie, right? Jamie spent money on like 3 Heineke cards and got drunk one day doing it. But it also just like with supply and demand, people just want quarterbacks. Like that's
Mhm.
just how it works.
Mhm.
Or like people want receivers, people want running, like people want the skill positions
Yeah.
more than the edge
Tackles.
rusher or the safeties and cornerbacks. Like even they could be gods.
Yeah.
And that adds value. That absolutely adds value, but it would add more value if they were a skill position.
I see that. Makes sense. Okay. And if that's all we have for the pod, please tune in. Like I said, I think regardless if the Bengals win or lose tomorrow, I'm gonna post something.
I'm
I was
sad I won't get to catch the first half of that game. I'll be driving back.
From
uh,
Vegas.
Yeah, from Vegas.
nice. That's good. At least you're leaving Vegas with some bets in. So, but yeah, regardless if the Bengals lose or not, I'm content with where we ended the season. So
I'm not.
I will be starting things off with like my top 5 players here, top 5 players there, maybe some mock drafts. We'll care. Well, every single day I'm gonna have something, and it's gonna
Jerry
be good.
Jones, if you're watching, fire Mike McCarthy.
No, don't do that. Keep him there. I think he's a
Jerry,
gem. I think he's a good
Jerry,
gem. I think you should
please.
give Mike 20 years. Good gem.
Okay.
All right.
Jerry
All
Jones,
right.
hire yourself as general manager.
We will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully if no one gets hurt on the Bengals, I won't be depressed. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, and thank you for tuning in for Tease My Pick. See you guys. As it goes, take care.